Hello and a very good morning. You're watching the Breakfast News on Rajya Sabha Television with me, Frank Pereira. Here's the latest headlines. Government names 8 Indians holding illegal bank accounts abroad. BJP terms it a historic move. Opposition parties question the government's intention over selective disclosure. Maharashtra Legislature Party to elect the state's Chief Minister today. Shiv Sena agrees to the BJP Chief Minister, but BJP holds firm and demands unconditional support. Cyclone Nilüfer, that's expected to hit the Gujarat coastline on Friday, intensifies into a very severe cyclonic storm. Centre and Gujarat government gear up to face the situation. Japanese telecom giant and internet giant SoftBank announces $10 billion investment in India over the next few years. And boxer Sarita Devi apologizes, boxing India to appeal against her suspension. Well, days after Finance Minister Arun Jaitley spoke of a revelation that would embarrass the Congress, the government named a total of 8 people in the Supreme Court in connection with the untaxed or black money in foreign accounts, but none of them are politicians. There are claims that Switzerland has agreed to help in the probe. Here's a report.
In an affidavit in the Supreme Court on Monday, the centre disclosed the names of 8 persons who have allegedly stashed untaxed money abroad. Here are some of the names that have come forward. Pradeep Burman, director of the Dabur India Group, Pankaj Chinmaya Lodhia, a Rajkot-based bullion trader, and Radha S. Timblo, a Goa-based miner and owner of Timblo Private Limited. They're being prosecuted for tax evasion as unaccounted money was found in their foreign accounts.
हमने अपनी सेंसिटिविटी दिखाई थी और सरकार के सबसे पहले निर्णय में काले धन पर नरेंद्र मोदी जी की सरकार ने निर्णय किया था। जैसे जैसे जिन नामों की सूची हमारे पास है और जिस पर साक्ष्य और प्राप्त होता जाएगा, समय समय पर सरकार उनके बारे में जानकारी देती रहेगी।
Those accused have rejected the charges, claiming their accounts are legal. Dabur Group issued a statement clarifying that its director was an NRI when the account was opened. Others denied having a Swiss account at all.
I don't have any Swiss account. Whatever the prosecution, we will just reply. और हमारा ऐसा कुछ है नहीं, जो भी है हमने बुक्स में जो है वो सब दिखा दिया है और जो भी है हमने ऑलरेडी डिक्लेयर कर दिया है।
I gave my explanation and once I see the affidavit and I will come back with a proper explanation and a press note.
The centre faced flack for revealing only a limited number of names so far. Opposition parties expressed disappointment with the present list of names.
Revealing just 3 names as once again expose the hypocrisy of BJP-led government, Mr. Modi government. The government has been talking about several names.
See, the 3 names which have been disclosed just now seem to be sort of small fry and somewhat innocuous names. We know that there are much more powerful and influential people who have held accounts which is in the knowledge and in the possession of the government.
Earlier, the government faced criticism for saying that tax treaties don't allow the disclosure of names till charges are framed in court. In Monday's affidavit, the government told the court that it has no intention of withholding names and they would be revealed in cases where tax evasion was established. With inputs from Ravi Sharan, Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Joining me on the program this morning is senior journalist Neerja Chaudhary. Good morning, Neerja, and thank you for joining us. Let's talk about the black money issue first. You know, the BJP has termed it as a historic move. The opposition has slammed the government, calling it, selective revelation of these particular names. No politician named as yet. How do you look at it?
Yeah, of course, the issue, as we know, is something that the BJP made promises on. And it has political, economic and emotional aspects to it. So they are upping the ante on it. But there's a lot of confusion. You know, they've come out with 8 names. Earlier they had said they cannot come out with names because of the double taxation avoidance treaty between the 2 countries. But obviously they've skirted around that,
yes,
because the charge sheets are filed against these 8 names. But I think what is needed today is an authoritative statement from the government of why 8 names, where does the matter stand vis-a-vis the 628 names on the HSBC list. Others have said that before the NDA came to power, and this features in the papers today, that the government had 75 names. So all this is floating around, and in the midst of it is the speculation or rumor that there are 3 or 4 prominent congressmen whose names figure in that list. And Mr. Jaitley, the finance minister, had said when disclosures are made, it's going to hugely embarrass the Congress. Now, these are very serious statements to make. And I think, as I say, an authoritative statement needs to come from the government on where the matter stands vis-a-vis the investigation.
Okay, a clear and authoritative statement from the government is what our guest is saying this morning. That's what the nation wants to hear and know. Let's move on now and talk about another important subject. Of course, the newly elected BJP MLAs in Maharashtra will meet today in Mumbai to elect the leader of the legislature party to lead the new government. Sources say that the party's state unit chief Devendra Fadnavis is likely to be elected as the legislature party leader in the meeting, though Union Minister Nitin Gadkari and prominent state leader Eknath Khadse are also in the running. Union Home Minister Rajnath Singh and Party General Secretary JP Nadda, who are also BJP's central observers for election of the legislature party, will be present. Meanwhile, Mumbai Pradesh BJP president told the media yesterday that the first ever BJP-led government in Maharashtra will be sworn in on Friday. The BJP has an offer of outside support from the NCP that has said that it will abstain from voting in the assembly when the BJP has to prove its majority.
एनसीपी ने महाराष्ट्र के विकास के लिए सपोर्ट के लिए कहा है, अब लेना कि नहीं लेना वो हम सोचेंगे आगे। शिवसेना हमारा नेचुरल अलायंस है, वो आए तो बहुत बढ़िया, स्वागत है।
मुझे लगता है कि बिना किसी कंडीशन के ही सरकार बनेगी, क्योंकि महाराष्ट्र की जनता ने यह तय करके बताया है कि भारतीय जनता पार्टी की सरकार बनेगी।
Meanwhile, the Shiv Sena in Maharashtra has agreed to bend on the BJP's chief minister demand and held out praise for the Prime Minister. The BJP, though, stands firm and wants unconditional support. It remains to be seen whether the BJP and Sena reunite after the recent split in their 25-year-old alliance.
With every passing day leading up to the formation of a new government in Maharashtra, Shiv Sena is cozying up to the BJP. The estranged allies are mulling a reunion to rule the state together for the next 5 years. Hinting further softening in stand, Shiv Sena has agreed to be a part of a government headed by a chief minister from the BJP.
चुनाव खत्म हुए हैं, कटुता खत्म हुई है। जो भी भारतीय जनता पार्टी का नेता विधायक दल का होगा, जो मुख्यमंत्री होगा, और वो नेता यूनाइटेड महाराष्ट्र को मजबूत बनाएगा, आगे लेके जाएगा, देश में नंबर 1 राज्य बनाएगा। शिवसेना ने हमेशा ऐसे नेताओं को ताकत दी है और सम्मान किया है।
The Nationalist Congress Party has not given up either. It has kept its offer of support to the BJP open despite no formal talks between the two sides yet. The party said it would abstain if BJP seeks floor test as a minority government.
In the best interest of democracy, in the fulfillment of the latest mandate of the people of Maharashtra, we think we would be doing justice to the system by extending external support to Bharatiya Janata Party, which our leader Sharad Pawar has rightly said in Economics Times. And if at all show of strength on the floor of assembly is required to be done by Bharatiya Janata Party, we would abstain, thereby making a way for Bharatiya Janata Party to run the government.
However, the BJP is yet to take a final call on who to partner with in the new government. So far, the party has refused to put the Shiv Sena out of its misery by indicating whether a merger will be renewed.
Party has already said that this would be decided after Diwali, and the parliamentary board of the BJP has deputed very senior leaders to look at it and meet with the legislators. Everything will be known in due course.
The BJP's central observers, Union Home Minister Rajnath Singh and JP Nadda, will attend the legislature party meeting in Mumbai on Tuesday and elect the next chief minister of the state. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Nirja, I want to get your thoughts on the situation in Maharashtra right now. Everyone's been talking about how the Shiv Sena and the BJP are natural allies, how they're going to come together. In spite of being natural allies, there still seems to be some kind of an underlying problem as far as the two parties are concerned.
It's a unenviable situation for the Shiv Sena at the moment. They were number one, now they are relegated to number two. They are having to give up and accept the chief ministership of the BJP, which is fine, which is the way things happen in politics. If somebody's got almost double the number of seats that you have got, they have a right to CM-ship. Then the other thing is that Sena attacked the BJP bitterly during the campaign. There was the Marathi Manus card they played against the Gujarati domination of the BJP. And now the ground level, the Senics, a large chunk of them are saying, why should we accept what they call humiliating conditions? Now the BJP, for the BJP, the Sena is a natural ally. Then NCP, who they call naturally corrupt party, is not a natural ally. And they will have to face the people and justify why they have to take support from a party they've criticized on the issue of corruption. And remember, Mr. Devendra Fadnavis, who's going to be the CM and the legislature party leader elected today, he's the one who led the exposes in the assembly, the irrigation scam and the other scams against the NCP. Therefore, it's a dilemma for the BJP also whether to accept support from the NCP or not. Yet, the thing that has changed is that the BJP would like the support of the Sena on its own terms.
Indeed.
It is acting very tough.
Is the Shiv Sena really in a position to make some of these demands? Okay, they've conceded on the CM front, but they want someone from the party to be the deputy chief minister. They want the plush portfolio of the home ministry to be with them. So is the Sena really in a position to make these demands?
See, the formula that was when in the 90s, the Sena BJP government came to power when you had Manoj Joshi, the Shiv Sena person, as the chief minister. The formula mooted was that the junior partner, which was the BJP at that time, would get deputy CM-ship, would get finance, would get home, would get irrigation, would get power, and so on, plum portfolios. And the senior partner was left with, urban development and a couple of other portfolios. And that formula was copied by the Congress and the NCP when they were in power during the last 15 years. Now, that formula is being turned on its head. The BJP is saying that formula is not going to be on. So you will get what we give you virtually. So that is what the Sena is finding very difficult. But for the Sena to stay out of power is also going to be very problematic because it's people, they've been out of power and they need to get back to power in order to keep their flock together. So for Uddhav Thackeray, here are the Senics who say, his foot soldiers who say that this is very humiliating after the campaign that we fought, and his leaders who say, no, we cannot let this opportunity go. And of course, the Sena has fortunately got 62 seats, and the split will mean it has 2/3 of that will have to go to the BJP, which doesn't seem possible at the moment. But in the future, if Uddhav Thackeray does not go towards the BJP and share power in whatever the terms that the BJP is holding out, then will his flock start to, erode and people start to leave him and dwindle. Therefore, it's a very, very difficult situation for the Sena today.
But the BJP in Maharashtra really, has played the waiting game. In the past, we've seen, parties trying to rush to form the government. But that's not the case with the BJP in Maharashtra. They're playing the waiting game. They're playing their cards right now, aren't they?
They've displayed that they have nerves of steel, as they say. Anybody else would have wilted in this situation. But they are holding out. And obviously, they've got a backup plan with the NCP. I mean, that must have been worked out through back channels. It is not a last-minute thing. For some weeks, I believe that had been worked out. But I think it's the kind of model Mr. Narendra Modi now wants to put in place. He's moving like, Indira Gandhi in that mold, where majority here, tough leadership, capture the states also, and put his own people who he trusts as chief ministers. So you have Manohar Lal Khattar, who he is known for 40 years and was a colleague of his, 40 years, Pracharak. in place in Haryana, and Devendra Fadnavis, a very promising younger leader, great organizer and legislator, of course, though he has no administrative experience, who has the ear of the Prime Minister Amit Shah, RSS at Nagpur, tipped to be the Chief Minister in Maharashtra, a younger face at 44, but has the confidence. The Prime Minister certainly trusts him. So it's not only the capturing of the states that Mr. Modi would like, and elections are coming in the coming months. It is putting his key people in place. So his own team.
Yes. His own team to run the nation is what Mr. Modi is looking at, is what Neerja is saying. Thank you so much, Neerja Chaudhary, for joining us on the program this morning and sharing your views on both those very important stories.
Thank you.
Well, on that note, of course, we'll slip into a short break now, but still to come, after NSA Ajit Doval's visit to West Bengal, the state has promised full cooperation in the Burdwan blast probe. That and much more on the other side. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Welcome back. You're watching Rajya Sabha Television. Well, Gujarat is bracing for cyclone Nilüfer that's likely to strike the North Gujarat coast on Thursday or Friday. The Met Department has issued a warning saying that Nilüfer has intensified into a severe storm. It says that the cyclone's intensity will increase gradually as it makes landfall near Nalia village in Kutch district. Evacuation procedures will get underway along the coastline today. Food stocks have been buffered. The National Disaster Response Force has been put on high alert. District authorities in the coastal areas are monitoring the situation and have been advised to keep their control rooms operational. The administration has urged the fishermen not to venture into the sea. Chief Minister Anandiben Patel held a high-level meeting on Monday to take stock of the situation.
साइक्लोन अभी इंटेंसिफाइड होके सीवियर साइक्लोन बन चुका है. अभी वो 1180 किलोमीटर साउथ वेस्ट ऑफ नलिया. आईएमडी ने साइक्लोन अलर्ट स्टेट गवर्नमेंट ऑफिशियल को इश्यू कर चुके हैं.
पूरी तैयारी कर दी है. पहले तो मछुआरों को बुला लिया है. 25-50 किलोमीटर अंदर उसका इफेक्ट होने वाला है. तो हम लोगों ने अभी से कहा है कि जो ट्री है उसका ट्रिमिंग कर दें. तीसरा, किसानों को हम लोगों ने अवगत कराया है.
Moving on now, West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee has assured full support and cooperation to the centre to fight terrorism. National Security Advisor Ajit Doval on Monday met Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee to discuss the 2nd October blast at Burdwan. According to the reports, the Chief Minister has assured Doval of her government's full cooperation to the centre in fighting terrorism. Militant outfit Jamaat-ul-Mujahideen Bangladesh is believed to be involved in carrying out the blasts. The incident occurred in a rented house in Kagragad in Burdwan on October 2nd, killing 2 people. Well, let's take a look now at some other news and updates from around the country in Nationwide.
India has decided to buy Israel's Spike anti-tank guided missiles, turning down the US sale offer with Javelin. India will buy 8,356 Spike missiles and 321 launches from Israel for Rs 3,200 crores. The missiles would be brought to India in various stages and pieces. Washington had been lobbying hard with its offer to co-produce and co-develop the missile. Heavy showers in Andhra Pradesh have claimed 3 lives. 2 women and a boy were killed in rain-related incidents in the state, which has been receiving heavy showers for the last 2 days under the influence of northeast monsoon. Chief Minister N. Chandrababu Naidu has announced an ex-gratia of Rs 2 lakh each to the next of kin of the 2 women. He also instructed that financial assistance be provided to the boy's family. District officials have been asked to be on alert as rains are forecast for another 2 days. Government doctors in Karnataka have stepped up their agitation over the government's failure to meet their demands. 2,800 doctors resigned en masse across the state. The doctors have set a 14-point charter of demands, including wage revision. Health Minister UT Kader warned that notices would be issued to the protesting doctors if they do not join duty immediately. But amid the tussle, it is the patients who bore the brunt, as hospitals could provide little services. The Kerala government organized the function in Thiruvananthapuram on Monday to felicitate scientists involved in the Mars Orbiter mission. Chief Minister Oommen Chandy handed over mementos to scientists from various ISRO centers, saying the mission had imparted confidence with the nation to take up bigger ventures. ISRO chairman K. Radhakrishnan backed Chandy's proposal to use the euphoria created by the Mars Orbiter mission to ignite young minds and encourage students to take to science.
Moving on now, China has asked India to refrain from taking any action that may complicate or exaggerate the boundary issue. This comes 3 days after India announced plans to build 54 new border posts in Arunachal Pradesh. Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson said in an email that China is committed to finding a solution through friendly negotiation as soon as possible and working together to safeguard peace and tranquility. But pending the final settlement of the boundary question, we hope the Indian side could refrain from taking any action that may complicate or exaggerate the situation. On October 15th, China had objected to India's plans to build a 2,000-kilometer road along the border in Arunachal Pradesh. The road from Mago Tingbu in Tawang to Vijayanagar in Changlang district is meant to match China's infrastructure development. And here's a look now at some international news in our World Wrap. Japanese telecom giant SoftBank has pledged an investment of $10 billion in India's IT and communications sector over the coming years. SoftBank will focus on the fast-growing e-commerce sector. This is the biggest investment commitment from a Japanese company since Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to the country. Japanese companies had committed an investment of $35 billion in India during Modi's visit in September. US health officials have said that Ebola medical workers returning from West Africa should not be quarantined. Under the new guidelines, the medics will be checked for symptoms for 21 days but will not require quarantine or isolation. The announcement comes after a nurse complained about her quarantine in New Jersey. At least 38 people have been killed in 2 car bomb blasts near the Iraq's capital city of Baghdad. In one of the attacks, suicide bomber rammed his explosives-laden Humvee into the checkpoint, killing at least 24 people, mostly pro-government Shiite militiamen and Iraqi troops. Another car bomb killed 14 people. South African police have launched a major manhunt to find the killers of national football captain Senzo Meyiwa. Meyiwa was shot dead by suspected burglars on Sunday night while trying to protect his girlfriend. President Jacob Zuma has expressed shock at the death of the 27-year-old goalkeeper. South African state prosecutors have said that they are going to appeal against the sentence given to athlete Oscar Pistorius for killing his girlfriend Riva Steenkamp. Pistorius was sentenced to 5 years for culpable homicide but may be released into house arrest after 10 months. The prosecution wanted a 10-year term on the culpable homicide charge after pressing for the athlete to be convicted of a premeditated murder, which carries a minimum sentence of 25 years. And let's take a look now at what's lined up for the day today in our special segment, The Day Ahead. The Supreme Court will continue hearings on a petition on black money. The government yesterday named 8 persons as black money account holders in an affidavit to the court. The Apex Court will also hear the centre's stand on government formation in Delhi today. A 1,000-hour Bandh has been called by the Joint Action Committee for Autonomous State in Karbi Anglong district of Assam. The group is demanding creation of an autonomous state out of Karbi Anglong and Dima Hasao, the 2 hill districts of Assam. The cutoff will cause huge problems for Nagaland and Manipur. Vietnamese Prime Minister Nguyen Tan Dung will hold delegation-level talks with Prime Minister Narendra Modi in New Delhi on his second day of his visit. Some key agreements are expected to be signed between the 2 countries with focus on increasing economic ties. Mr. Dang will also meet External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj and Lok Sabha Speaker Sumitra Mahajan. Notification for the first phase of assembly elections in Jammu and Kashmir will be issued today. The first phase of polling will cover 15 assembly segments. The Election Commission had announced a 5-phase assembly polls in Jammu and Kashmir between November 23rd and December 28th. CPM's Central Committee meeting will continue for the third day today with the battle of top leadership intensifying. On day 2 of the meet, most members sought to play down the differences between party leader Prakash Karat and Sitaram Yechuri. But the challenge for the Central Committee still remains to come up with a new political tactical line. Let's now take a look at the global stock markets. US stocks ended near flat on Monday as energy shares fell with another decline in oil prices. The Dow Jones Industrial Average rose by 12.53 points or 0.07% to close the trading at 16,817. Standard & Poor's 500 index lost 2.95 points or 0.15% to end its business at 1,961. The Nasdaq Composite added 2.22 points or 0.05% to finish at 4,485. Gold prices declined by 0.08% or 23 rupees to 27,153 per 10 grams on Monday as participants reduced their positions largely in tandem with a weak trend overseas. Silver also fell by 0.19% or 54 rupees to 38,145 per kilogram as speculators reduced positions on weak cues from global markets. Meanwhile, the Asian stock markets opened down by a report that American data from home sales to manufacturing fell short of estimates. Japan's Nikkei is down by 28.19 points or 0.18% and is trading currently at 15,360. Hong Kong's Hang Seng dropped 158.97 points or 0.68% to trade at 23,143. Let's move on now and bring you up to date with some sports news. Boxer Sarita Devi has apologized for her protest on the controversial loss at the Asian Games. The Indian Sports Ministry and Boxing India have requested AIBA to revoke her ban after she has expressed remorse for her action. Sarita had protested against the unfavorable decision in the 60-kilogram bout against South Korea's Park Ji-na at the Asian Games, which cost her the silver medal by refusing to bend down at the victory stand to let the bronze medal be placed around her neck. Sarita's suspension jeopardizes her participation in the World Championships next month.
Sarita had yesterday said that she would give the medal.
Let's now bring you up to date with the other news-making sports stories from around the world in our Sports Beat. Squash star Deepika Pallikal outclassed fellow Indian Lakshya Raghavendran to reach the semi-finals of the JSW Indian Squash Challenger Circuit at Chennai on Monday. Pallikal beat Raghavendran 11-4, 9-11, 11-2, 11-3 in a quarterfinal lasting 37 minutes. The world number 12 with her well-timed strokes and agile movements ran away with the first game. With the mild setback in the second game, Pallikal won the next two comfortably. Andy Murray saved 5 match points to win his third title in the past month by beating Tommy Robredo 3-6, 7-6, 7-6 in the Marathon Valencia Open final. After thumping a backhand winner to seal victory, the Scot, who squandered a match point earlier in the third set, collapsed to the floor and barely had enough strength to get to the net to greet his vanquished opponent. The victory lifted Murray to 5th in the race to secure a spot at the season-ending tour final in London. Reigning world champion Marc Marquez won a season record equaling 12th MotoGP race with victory at the Malaysian Grand Prix. The Honda riding Spaniard who sealed his title defense in Japan 2 weeks ago had a poor start on pole but clawed his way back to the front to finish nearly 3 seconds ahead of runner-up Valentino Rossi. The win also sealed the constructors' title for Honda. They are 21st in Premier Class racing. And finally, robots took center stage at the Tokyo Design Expo on Monday as they sang, clapped, kicked, played guitar and even wooed visitors. Take a look at these visuals and bye-bye.